Hey everyone, Brian here, another episode of the podcast. Today is Monday. Today is Monday, May 18th, 2026, and we're just getting back from an amazing 2.5, almost 3 days, in some cases 4 days, with some amazing entrepreneurs. And I want to share that with you in this episode. Last week, my wife Pam and I hosted the Naples Experience. My group called it Marketing in Paradise. Pam's group called it the Naples Experience. And what ended up happening is that we were able to bring together 18 amazing entrepreneurs, some of their teams, and stakeholders from a wide range of industries, right? From interior design, cabinetry, banking, industrial distribution, real estate, professional services, AI services, customer experience, and some amazing growing e-commerce brands in the food and beverage, some business coaches and consultants. Unbelievable. They came from all over: Georgia, Florida, Maryland, New York, New Jersey. I didn't get any pork roll though. Pennsylvania, California, Texas, and Montana. The mix made it amazing conversations that were really interesting because although the industries were different, there was a really bunch of common themes. And I'm going to talk about that today and share some of my experiences. And the first is we designed this event to become an experience, not just an event. I want to share with you, I'm tipping my cap to my friend Vance Morris and his whole idea, this philosophy around the experience economy, because we wanted to make the event memorable, not just informative. We started out, we had a private chef cook for a group in an amazing showroom, which really changed the dynamic. We talked about sous vide, our story connecting us to the SKS brand. And then all of a sudden, they created a sense of conversation that everyone in the room enjoyed and really was unexpected. And then after a busy day on Thursday, we had a curated sunset cruise where we were literally looking in the backyard of Billionaires. And why do I say that? Because that setting does really something. It got people thinking bigger. It got people creating a shared memory. It just gives context of a business conversation related to what we did as a group and not just what boring, bland tan conference room we went to. And although those tan conference rooms are amazing because of the people, we wanted to take it even further than that. So that was intentional. So because if you want people to remember the message, you got to design the moment. Taking a tip out of the Disney experience, right? And one of the lessons we learned is all about this. Authority is not just what you say, it's the experience people associate with you. And we had a bunch of, I want to share with you some observations. And kind of once we had that environment established, the conversations became super real, super quick, because everyone's defenses were down. What stood out was really a couple of the main things that everyone had is that they're trying to solve the same problems. How can I create better opportunities with clients that fit better? Although we had lots of conversations, it really wasn't about more leads and more attentions, but it was how to have better conversations, stronger relationships, and more trust. Because when you have that trust, those customers don't leave. Don't leave. If you've listened to any of my episodes talking about how you enable the sales process and kind of the science of that, this is really the art and how people work together. And I will share with you, there were people that were in that room that I have been colleagues, clients of, they're clients of mine for the better part of 10 or 12 years. And I will tell you, it's a whole lot more fun doing business with people you like and want to be in the same room with than it is to be people that you're just merely facilitating transactions. So anyway, that's the background and my big observation. I want to talk about some of the takeaways. Everyone's still looking for new client acquisition. Doesn't matter the industry, everyone's still trying to chase that, how do I get more clients? And where's the next good client coming from? And one of the things that I thought was really interesting, a lot of us were tied to Dan Kennedy, and we talk about prints, and that people think about it as gimmicks. And even though they're not gimmicks, we do that for the reason of that print is an analog is sticky. It's not the flash in the pan from doom scrolling, but it's something that's sticky. But they also realize that the quick and easy shorts that work now don't always work in the long term, and they don't always get you the clients you really want. So I thought that was really interesting. The second takeaway after, I want to say, 3 of our conversations, that as frustrating as it is, the long path is often the best path. Now, I can share you that because I've been on this long path for 10 years. And for people say, Brian, you make it look easy. I'm like, you have no idea how hard I worked. And I was just like you. It doesn't matter where you were, whether it's a solopreneur or a small team or a big team, whatever you were, I followed the same journey that you did. But the constant relationship building, the reputation building, the consistency, my referral networks, authenticity, authority, follow-up is often the path that really does produce those best clients. And it's not always exciting. And quite honestly, it's hard sometimes and it's not instant, but over the long term, it compounds and it does work. And so those of you that are willing to play the long game are the ones that end up winning. And what's interesting is that go back and look at your notes from 5 years ago or 3 years ago or 10 years ago and just look at the line in the sand you drew of who you who you wanted to serve and how you wanted to serve them. And I'm going to guess you're probably not very far off of that, but we often spend time and effort circling back and circling back and circling back, wondering why we're not doing it. And it's that classic case is, when should I have planted a tree? There are two best times. One is 10 or 20 years ago, and the second is right now. So that was my take on the client acquisition. The other thing was referrals are still the best, but the hardest to achieve. I will share two amazing stories that I heard. Weren't even from my clients. They were from Pam's clients. One was a interior designer who was really kind of on the fence, like, am I doing the right thing for the right reason? And she got a deep 6-figure design contract from a referral that she had been working on for probably close to a year. So again, good things don't happen overnight. The good news with that is they're also not going to leave too, because that you're building trust with that client. And the second one was the same deal. It was a vendor partner relationship, which Pam talks about quite a bit in her programs. And those referrals turned into, they're working on 3 to 5 locations of the pilot project, and they have an opportunity to do this up to 500 locations for a national franchise or a national brand that supports a certain industry. I don't want to take any wind out of Pam's sales, but and they're like, oh my God, this is amazing. Well, they're really hard to engineer because although people think they do them instinctively, they don't. And they think they do them consistently, but they don't. But if you have an engineer program, you have a system that you support all the time, and you talk about it and you act about it in the pursuit of others by giving more than getting. My Tony Robbins thing, you will find that it's going to help. And if you want your referrals to help you, you have to be memorable. You have to be clear. People have to know who you can help. So you want to know that. You've heard me talk about the story of, TikTok's a rave, Instagram's a party, Facebook is a class reunion, LinkedIn is a conference, and you better be the one on stage. Well, the ones that are taking the referrals other way are the ones that are on stage talking about a topic where people in the audience, the hair on the back of their neck stands up, and you want to be that person. So it doesn't happen by accident, and there are ways to get there. The other one, which is the other takeaway, which I thought was interesting, was everyone's really looking for authority. Now, of the people in my room, we had 12 people in my room, and 1, 2, 3, 4 of us had written books. So clearly we understand authority, but they don't just want authority, they want credibility. They want to be seen as the obvious choice in their market category network. Actually, it was amazing. Vance Morris did a keynote for us. He did a 40-minute presentation on the experience, how to create the premium experience. And the people that didn't know Vance said, hey, is there any books or resources that you could get for that? He goes, yeah, well, I have one, and I'd like to give it to you for free. And their looks on their faces exploded, because clearly his presentation was engineered for that, but it's genuine. That's why Vance has the experience economy. So, and they don't want noise. They don't want, TikToks. They want a signal of trust, right? And given everything that's going on today, right, trust is more important than ever. Authenticity is more important than ever, because people are going to have to realize you're going to, Trent Gilson said, I think is his name, you have to go slow to grow fast, okay? Another big takeaway was AI shortcuts. So the so-called generated content, AI slop was the word I used all the time. Dan Kennedy's new book talked about AI slop. Those shortcuts are starting to backfire. Google, as of today, just came out with new guidelines they don't want you just dumping content and creating AI content to rank on keywords. And they're doing things to go against that. Shocker there. Because they don't people don't want to engage with brands that are lazy. So if you're using the same voice you hear on every YouTube video, don't. I mean, AI is certainly a tool we all should be using, but don't be lazy. Don't just let it be innovative and creative and let AI amplify what you're doing, not replace what you're doing. So that's the difference. Where do I think the real opportunity was? And we all agreed is authenticity plus AI is the real opportunity. The winners aren't going to be the people who avoid AI because they can't anymore. And they're also not going to be the people that blindly just outsource their, AI to some simple clip thing that they pay and does 8-second videos on what you're doing. The winners are going to be the people who use AI and automation and technology and other people to amplify their real experience, their real stories, their real relationship, and their points of view. That's where the opportunity is. So again, I'm going to sigh here. AI should help you become more visible, more consistent, and more useful, not more generic. So, and that's really why we're launching the Authority Hub. So the Naples Experience confirmed the need. So everyone in the room wanted to be an authority, but they weren't sure how to get there. And we'll talk in future episodes about that, but they all want to look for better client acquisition, better referral systems, stronger authority, and a smarter way to use AI without losing their voice. And the Authority Hub is designed specifically for that. Real quick, the first one is, helping people build their authority. The second part of it is how to use that for referral and growth. And then the last part is execution. And we're going to get into some details and more about how to do that. So don't worry, I'm not hiding from it. It's just that I like keeping these episodes to 12 to 15 minutes, that one-way ride to the grocery store or while you're waiting for your kids at soccer practice or baseball practice, so that how you can do that. But those 3 lanes really fit, and the 3 lanes we'll talk about in a future episode. But understanding how do you create authority, even if you don't have any. I started out this journey 18 months ago, actually almost 2 years ago, where I just started talking about topics that were important to me in the podcasts and on YouTube and on my LinkedIn profile and on my Instagram profile. And just in the last 3 months, we're actively pursuing new clients in my business because we now have a clear path. Talk about that later on. But the reality of it is that I know who I can serve, how I can help, and I don't have to do all the work. And you've heard me talk about that in future episodes, right? So we want to grow, but I do not have T or E. So if you are requiring me, as in me, Bryan, personally, to do that, and understanding where you fit, and if you listen to my at least 3 episodes about the Working Genius, you'll hear what I have to say and why. So, and if you're not listening to the Working Genius podcast, I will put a link in the description below. So that's that. So, and kind of in closing, it's kind of a funny word. I'm using notes, so sorry. It's been a long day. We just got done on Friday night. Basically, we used to talk about attract, convert, and deliver. Now the conversation is, how do I become the person people trust, the one people remember, and the ones people refer? So they're not solved by hacks. They're solved by authority first, because authority is the new authenticity, relationships, consistency, and really being smart about it. So, and when AI is used the right way, it doesn't replace those things. It really helps to accelerate them. So, hey, I wanted to thank everybody for, first and foremost, being a part of the Naples Experience. Can't thank our sponsors, the teams that helped make it happen. The facilities we're at were first class. We all were giggling. The theme was, this doesn't suck. And it doesn't suck to have amazing people in amazing places doing amazing things. So thanks very much for listening to this episode of the podcast. I look forward to having you on the next one. And thanks for letting me spend some time with you. Take care.